Nataraja, you have seen him 1,000 times. In your home, in your grandmother's puja room, in calendars, in museums, in temples across India. You think you know this figure, but look at him again. The drum, the flame, the demon under his foot, the ring of fire, the raised leg, the hair flying outward. Every single element on this figure has a meaning, a deep scriptural philosophical meaning, and most of us have walked past all of it our entire lives. Why is Shiva dancing? How did this exact dance come into being? Who is a small dark demon crushed beneath his foot? Today we are going to decode him. Before we understand the figure, we need to understand why Shiva dances at all. The story comes from the Chidambara Mahatmya, an ancient Sthala Purana. Deep inside the Tillai forest, there lived a group of rishis. They were powerful sages. They performed fire rituals day and night, but they had come to believe that the ritual itself was enough, that their mantras were so potent they did not need God at all. They worshipped karma, they worshipped action, but they had forgotten surrender. So Shiva came to test them, not as a god announcing himself, as an ordinary wandering yogi. The rishis were furious that the stranger had disturbed their penance, so they reached into their fire pit and with the force of their mantras, they sent out their weapons one after another. A tiger sprang from the flames. Shiva caught it, peeled its skin with a fingernail and wrapped it around his waist. A serpent came hissing. He picked it up and wore it around his neck like a garland. Hot embers came flying. He took them into his hand and held them, a living flame. And then came the last test, a small dark demon named Apasmara, the demon of ignorance, the demon of forgetfulness. And Shiva did something different. He did not kill Apasmara. He did not wrap him around his body. He simply placed his right foot on top of him, pressed him down and began to dance. That dance is the Ananda Tandava, the dance of bliss. That is a dance we call Nataraja. Now, why is Shiva dancing? The answer is one of the most profound ideas in all of Hindu philosophy. The Panchakritya, the 5 cosmic activities. According to Shaiva Siddhanta philosophy, the universe is run by 5 actions of the divine. The first is Shrishti, creation. The second is Sthiti, preservation. The third is Samhara, destruction. The fourth is Tirobhava, concealment. And the fifth is Anugraha, grace. These 5 actions are constantly happening, always, at every moment. And the genius of Nataraja is that every one of these 5 activities is shown on the single figure. Look at the Damru in his upper right hand. That is Shrishti, creation, the first sound of the universe. Look at the lower right hand raised in Abhaya Mudra. That is Sthiti, preservation, the gesture that says, do not fear, I am here. Look at the flame in his upper left hand. That is Samhara, destruction, the fire that ends a cosmos at the close of every kalpa. Look at the foot pressing Apasmara. That is Tirobhava, concealment, the wheeling of truth by ignorance. And look at the raised left foot. That is Anugraha, grace. The lifted foot is a refugee of the devotee. 5 cosmic activities, 1 figure. 5 elements, 5 actions, 1 dance. This is what Ananda Kumaraswamy wrote in 1918. This is what made the world start paying attention to Nataraja as a cosmological statement, not just a beautiful bronze. Now let's go element by element. The Damaru, the hourglass drum. In the Shaiva tradition, the first vibration of creation was a sound. The Damaru beats that sound into existence. Every note of music, every word of language, every syllable of every mantra comes from this drum. Panini, the great Sanskrit grammarian, is said to have received the Maheshwara Sutras from the sound of this Damaru. And here is something worth noticing. Modern physics at its deepest level describes the universe as vibration. Quantum field theory says that what we call particles are actually excitations in underlying fields, ripples, vibrations in the fabric of reality. The rishis who placed this drum in Shiva's hand arrived at something similar thousands of years ago. Creation begins with a sound. The flame, Agni. This is a fire that dissolves the universe at the end of time. Notice the balance. Creation in one hand, dissolution in the other. Both are happening now. Both are part of the same dance. Modern cosmology arrives at a similar idea. the second law of thermodynamics, entropy. The universe, according to physics, is moving towards its own dissolution, slowly, inevitably. The flame in Shiva's hand is that same understanding written in a much older language. Abhaya Mudra, the gesture of fearlessness. The palm faces a devotee. The message is simple. While you are standing before me, nothing can touch you. Now look at the lower left hand. It is held across the body, dropped diagonally, fingers pointing down like the trunk of an elephant. This is called Gajahasta, the elephant trunk hand. It points across the body directly at the raised left foot. Every element of Nataraja is doing its own thing. But this one hand says, look here, the answer is here. And what is the answer? The raised foot. The raised foot is a refugee. Every soul, every devotee, every being trapped in samsara is invited to come and take shelter at this lifted foot. And below, the small dark demon we asked about at the very beginning, Apasmara. Remember who he is. Ignorance, forgetfulness, the mind that forgets its own divine nature. And here is something most people do not know. Apasmara is not just a philosophical idea. It is a medical term. In the Ayurvedic text, the Charaka Samhita and the Sushruta Samhita, written over 2000 years ago, Apasmara is a clinical name for epilepsy, for seizures, for the loss of consciousness. The word itself breaks down as apa meaning loss and smara meaning memory. The demon crushed beneath Shiva's foot is a Sanskrit medical term for losing yourself, for blanking out, for forgetting who you are. And once you know this, the teaching becomes even more powerful. Now you understand why Shiva does not kill him. He cannot be killed. Ignorance is not destroyed. It is only subdued. As long as we are conscious, Apasmara is pressed down. The moment we are unconscious, he gets up again. Look at the hair. Those locks are not just for beauty. They are carrying 5 things. The Ganga river held in the tangles because the river came down from heaven and would have shattered the earth if Shiva had not caught it in his hair. The crescent moon marking time, marking cycles. A human skull reminding us of death. A datura flower, the flower of ascetic intoxication. And a serpent, Vasuki, the king of snakes, coiled in his hair like an ornament. 5 elements in the hair alone. And then the ring of fire, the Prabhavali. This is the most important frame around the figure and it has 2 meanings at the same time. First, it is the cosmos itself. Shiva dances inside the universe and the universe is contained by him. Second, it is samsara, the endless cycle of birth and death. Shiva dances within samsara untouched, free. And the lotus pedestal below Apasmara, the divine stage, the seat of purity from which the whole dance takes place. Now look at the figure again. Just look at it. Every single element has a purpose. Every single element is scripturally grounded. This is not art. This is a compressed philosophy. To understand Nataraja completely, you have to go to one temple, Chidambaram in Tamil Nadu, because this is where the dance happened. But something extraordinary is at Chidambaram, something you will not find at any other Shiva temple in India. In southern part of India, there are 5 temples known as the Panchabhuta Sthalas. Each temple represents Shiva as one of the 5 elements. At Kanchipuram, he is the earth. At Tiruvannaikkaval, he is water. At Tiruvannamalai, he is fire. At Srikalahasti, he is air. And at Chidambaram, he is Akasha, space itself. When you go into the main Garbhagriha at Chidambaram, the Archaka pulls back a golden curtain. And behind that curtain, you do not see a murti. You see nothing. An empty space, just a gap, a void, a row of hanging bilva garlands in front of a wall. This is called the Chidambara Rahasya, the secret of Chidambaram, because Shiva at Chidambaram is not a figure, he is space. He is a background against which all forms appear and disappear. The entire universe is happening inside him. The dance of Nataraja is not happening in a temple. The temple is happening inside the dance. Every other temple in India shows you a form of God. Chidambaram shows you that the form was never the point. The form was a help, a teaching aid. What Nataraja actually is space, dancing eternally. There is one more thing about this dance that almost no one talks about. The Ananda Tandava that Nataraja depicts is only one of 7 dances of Shiva. The Natya Shastra and the Abhinaya Darpana describe all 7. Rudra Tandava, the dance of rage performed after the death of Sati. Sandhya Tandava, the twilight dance performed at dusk on Mount Kailasa. Tripura Tandava, the dance after the destruction of the 3 demon cities. Urdhva Tandava, the upward dance, one leg raised vertically to the sky. A dance Shiva performed to humble the goddess Kali in a dance contest at Chidambaram itself. Muni Tandava, the dance for the sages. Samhara Tandava, the dance of complete cosmic destruction. And finally, Ananda Tandava, the dance of bliss, the one we call Nataraja. 7 dances, one God, one body. When you see any dancing Shiva figure in any temple, you can now ask a question: which dance is this? That is something most people walk past their whole lives without knowing. There is a reason we recognize Nataraja in this specific form. It comes from the Chola Empire. From roughly 850 to 1250 of the Common Era, the Chola kings of Tamil Nadu funded a bronze casting tradition unlike anything in the ancient world. They used a technique called sire pedue, lost wax. A full figure was sculpted in wax. Clay was packed around it. The clay was fired. The wax melted and drained away, and molten bronze was poured in. Every Chola bronze is a single pour. There are no copies. Each figure is original, and the Cholas made these bronzes for a very specific purpose. The stone murti inside the temple stays there. It never moves. But for festivals, the deity needs to come out, to be paraded through the streets, to visit the devotees. So the Cholas cast lightweight bronze versions called Utsava Murtis, processional deities. The Nataraja you see in every photograph, in every museum is an Utsava Murti, a figure made to walk the streets of Chidambaram once a year and greet the city. In 1918, a Ceylonese art historian named Ananda Kumaraswamy wrote an essay titled The Dance of Shiva. For the first time in English, he argued that this bronze was not just art. It was a statement, a philosophical statement, a cosmological statement, a compressed theory of the universe in metal. Almost a century later, in 2004, a large bronze Nataraja was installed at the entrance of CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, the largest particle physics laboratory in the world. The plaque beside it carries a passage by the physicist Fritjof Capra. It says that the metaphor of the cosmic dance unites ancient Hindu insight with modern physics, that the subatomic world is a world of continuous rhythm, of continuous creation and destruction, and that the Nataraja bronze is, in Capra's words, the perfect visual image of this physical reality. A Ceylonese art historian 100 years ago made a claim about this bronze, and the most advanced physics institution in the world 100 years later agreed with him. So the next time you see Nataraja on a calendar, in a museum, in a temple, outside a physics laboratory, you will not just see a beautiful figure. You will see the drum of creation, the flame of destruction, the gesture of fearlessness, the hand that points, the foot that gives refuge, the ignorance that is held down, the hair that carries the river and the moon, the ring of fire that is the universe itself, and the empty space of Chidambaram that contains all of it. You will see the cosmos compressed into bronze. The next time you pass a Nataraja, pause for a moment. You will see him differently now. There are many more figures waiting to be decoded. Vishnu, Lakshmi, Devi, Ganesha, and we are going to do all of that in our upcoming videos. Om Namah Shivaya.